The grim fate of a NEET who failed in FX trading from personal experience. FX holds the potential to earn unbelievable amounts of money. Moreover, your educational or work background doesn't matter, so even a NEET can chase that dream. I too wanted to earn quickly through FX, so I started trading as a NEET when I couldn't get results. But I failed spectacularly, leading to a disastrous end. So it's best not to become a NEET if you can't win in FX. Today, I'll share my personal experience. I became a NEET because I hated my job. In fact, I started FX because I wanted to quit my job quickly. When you're working as an employee, there are many unreasonable things, right? Personally, I couldn't accept that, so I thought it would be better to earn on my own and live with full responsibility. That's why I started DefX with the ambition to earn quickly and quit such a job. However, when I started studying FX, I couldn't find time for it because I was working during the day, which made me constantly frustrated. I wanted to watch the charts but couldn't, and I continued working for about a year in that dilemma until it exploded, and I quit my job. At that time, I thought I could live for a year without working with my savings, and I would surely be able to earn by then. So I became a NEET and started dedicating my time to studying FX to become a successful trader. But as soon as I became a NEET, failures began. I quit my job and became a so-called NEET trader, and I felt great. I was free from commuting and could watch the charts as much as I wanted. I was full of motivation, thinking I'd become a trader earning $10,000 a month in a year. But that's when the nightmare began. Initially, it was fun to watch the charts every day and study FX. But as a NEET, I had all the time in the world, so I started procrastinating, thinking I could study tomorrow, and gradually stopped studying. Then the only thing left to do was trade. As a NEET, I could spend all day on FX, so I could trade any time. But being glued to the charts all day made me want to trade, thinking I might earn a little. I started looking at the charts with the intention to enter trades. So even if it wasn't the right entry point, I'd enter a trade just because it looked a bit good. Doing this wasn't my original trading method, so I didn't have set stop loss or take profit points. When the market moved against me, I'd think it might come back if I held on a bit longer, and I couldn't cut my losses. And in such times, the market would keep moving against me. The unrealized losses would grow, making it even harder to cut losses, and I'd resort to averaging down. But when I started averaging down, the market wouldn't come back, and the losses would expand rapidly. Unable to bear the swelling unrealized losses, I'd finally cut my losses manually. But as soon as I did, the market would reverse, and the point where I cut would become the bottom. Then, out of frustration from the loss, I'd immediately re-enter trades, falling into a vicious cycle, worsening the situation and spreading the losses. My funds dwindled significantly, and I couldn't recover. When it became irreparable, I'd think it was okay to lose everything and resort to revenge trading, losing everything for real. But as a NEET with time, I had nothing else to do, so I'd withdraw from my savings and start trading again. After a big loss, I'd be burning with anger, thinking I'd quickly recover the losses. So everything on the chart looked like a trading opportunity, and I'd enter trades immediately, only to have the market move against me again, unable to cut losses, and end up with huge losses. People say humans learn, but I was a foolish NEET who kept repeating the same mistakes. Initially, I traded with a small amount of capital, but as I kept losing, I tried to recover by increasing my capital. So, my savings depleted rapidly, and I ended up with losses exceeding $100,000 in just over a year. I was pushed to the point where I couldn't sustain myself the following year, so my NEET period ended after a year, and I had to work again. Even when I tried to work, I couldn't find a job. In the end, I became a NEET, lost over $100,000 in just over a year, and had to work again. But with over a year of gap in my resume, even if I went for job interviews, I'd always be asked what I did during that year. If I answered that I did FX and lost $100,000, they'd think I'm too risky to hire. So, I'd say I was studying something I wanted to do. But then they'd ask what kind of study it was and if it was applicable to their company. I couldn't answer that, leading to an awkward atmosphere, and the interview would end without success. Failing in FX as a NEET leads to such a grim fate. I gained nothing and simply lost a year and $100,000. Even if I found a job, the grim reality didn't change. I struggled to find a job, so I survived on day labor for a while. Eventually, I managed to get a temporary job, but the grim situation remained. As a temp, I could be let go anytime, and at that time, transportation costs were included in the hourly wage. So I had to pay for transportation, and there were no bonuses, making life very tight. I couldn't save any money to restart FX. I spent my days doing boring work, and when I got home, I'd just stare at the charts without being able to trade and go to bed. Even while working as a temp, I continued studying and practicing FX. But since my money didn't increase, my motivation didn't last. So, I questioned the meaning of my life. What is this miserable life? I kept asking myself this every day. At that time, I regretted becoming a NEET and starting FX. If I hadn't made that mistake, I'd still have $100,000 in savings. I lived with a sense of regret. It took over 5 years to see results in FX. Despite working various temp jobs for over 5 years, I couldn't save much, and it took time to accumulate capital. During that time, I kept making all sorts of mistakes, wasting time and money. I was frustrated with my stupidity for repeating the same mistakes. Still, I continued testing and training, and finally started seeing results in FX, but it took over 5 years. When I started seeing results, I didn't feel happy or relieved, just a sense of, finally. Becoming a NEET cost me over 5 years and $100,000, and the price was too high. I realized again that if I hadn't become a NEET, it wouldn't have taken so long. Before becoming a NEET, as an employee, I didn't have time for FX, so I'd set stop loss and take profit points and leave the trades alone. So I avoided unnecessary trades, didn't fall into overtrading, and things surprisingly went well. Moreover, the trading style that led me to success in FX was the 4-hour chart trading style I used during my employee days. When I realized this, I felt like killing my NEET self. Never become a NEET. I failed miserably by becoming a NEET without being able to win in FX. If you're thinking of quitting your job to focus on FX even though you're not winning yet, don't do it. You should assume with 100% certainty that you'll end up like me. If you want to quit your job to focus on FX, only do so if you have skills like an engineer that allow you to easily find another job. Nowadays, with more remote work opportunities, you can work without going to the office much. By utilizing such options, you can increase the time you spend on FX, so don't quit your job recklessly. If your trading is starting to go well, you should definitely not quit your job. Just because you're starting to see results in trading, don't think quitting your job to focus on FX will lead to immediate success. Having such thoughts is dangerous. If you're doing well while working, it means the situation of working while doing FX suits you. If you quit your job here, you'll end up like I did when I became a NEET, with too much time leading to unnecessary trades. This will ruin the trading that was going well, and everything will be for nothing. So, if your trading is going well while working, don't quit your job until you can consistently earn more than your salary. Looking back, I can clearly say that becoming a NEET without being able to win in FX only leads to a grim fate. In summary, I talked about the grim fate I faced as a NEET. Looking back, that situation was too grim. I spent every day wondering if my life had any value. From this experience, I strongly advise against becoming a NEET without stable FX results. You're almost guaranteed to fail. See you in the next video. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe.